Antarctica. You know, it's the coldest, driest, most remote place on the entire planet. But this huge white desert is hiding some absolutely incredible secrets, buried under miles and miles of ice. So what is really going on down there at the bottom of the world?
Because let me tell you, underneath that clean white surface, there are mysteries that seriously challenge everything we think we know about history, about biology, and maybe even about reality itself. So today, we are going to unlock 3 of its most mind-bending secrets: a glacier that literally bleeds, pyramids that just shouldn't be there, and a secret war fought at the South Pole right after World War II. All right, first up, we have something that feels like it was ripped straight out of a horror movie. In one of the most desolate places on Earth, there's a glacier that looks like it's been wounded, and it never stops bleeding.
Yeah, you heard that right. Just picture it. Pouring out of the stark white ice of the Taylor Glacier is a blood-red waterfall. It cascades down 5 stories onto this frozen lake below. For decades, nobody had a clue what was causing it.
Well, scientists finally found the source. And it's not blood, but it's almost weirder. It's a huge hidden lake, a subglacial lake that has been completely sealed off from the rest of the world for an unimaginable amount of time. Just let that sink in for a second. This body of water hasn't seen sunlight, it hasn't touched our atmosphere for almost 2 million years. It's basically a perfect time capsule from a totally different age of our planet. And this ancient water, it's a bizarre kind of alien soup. There's no light, there's no oxygen, but it is packed with iron. So when this water finally seeps out and hits the air for the first time, that iron essentially rusts instantly, which creates that terrifying blood-red color. And the wildest part? It is teeming with ancient microbes that have been living and evolving in total darkness for eons. So, here's the big takeaway, right? If this totally unique ecosystem can survive, completely cut off from our world, what other kinds of life could be waiting for us in the deep, frozen dark? Okay, let's switch gears to our next mystery. We're moving from bizarre nature to something that looks a lot like impossible architecture. Check this out. Satellite photos taken over Antarctica's Ellsworth Mountains have found several enormous structures poking out of the ice. And we're not just talking about any old mountains. These are almost perfect pyramids with 4 incredibly steep, distinct sides. They look almost man-made. The resemblance to the pyramids at Giza is just uncanny, except these are way, way bigger. So, as you can imagine, this has kicked off a huge debate. On one side, you've got the geologists. They say, hey, these are just natural rock formations. They call them nunataks, basically mountain peaks that have been carved by millions of years of wind and ice. But on the other side, theorists are saying there's no way. They're too perfect, too symmetrical to be natural. They think we're looking at the ruins of a lost ancient civilization, maybe even Atlantis, that was flash frozen in some kind of global catastrophe. And you know that idea of a hidden civilization? It leads us right into our final mystery. We're jumping from ancient history to the modern military era, and a secret that has been fueling conspiracy theories for more than 70 years.
Okay, so it's 1946, right after World War II ends. The U.S. launches something called Operation High Jump. And this was no small field trip. We're talking a massive naval fleet with 4,700 men. The official story was that it was just a training exercise. But the mission was suddenly cut short by months after reports of mysterious deaths. This is what sparked all the rumors that they'd found something they weren't supposed to, like maybe a secret underground Nazi base.
Now, the whole theory just exploded because of an alleged quote from the guy in charge, Admiral Richard E. Byrd. He supposedly reported seeing these highly advanced, disc-shaped aircraft that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Some versions of the story even claim he flew into a giant opening in the continent and found a hidden world inside, full of green plants and prehistoric animals. The official records, they're either sealed or super vague, which leaves us all with this really unsettling question. What or who did thousands of U.S. soldiers run into down there that was so terrifying it forced a full-scale military retreat? So think about it. We've got a bleeding glacier with a hidden alien ecosystem. We have what could be ancient pyramids and a secret polar war. It's pretty clear that Antarctica's ice is like a curtain, hiding a world that we just barely understand.
And that brings us to the final, really critical thought here. 98% of that continent is still buried under ice that is, on average, more than a mile thick.
As our planet keeps warming up and that ice starts to melt, the real question is, what other secrets, what other lost histories are finally going to be revealed to the world?